Okay, guys, this is our Monday night GetFitCrew team call, and tonight we're going to talk about objections. We talked about inviting last week, so now objections is our next step, where we have the common, it's too expensive, I definitely love and want to try Shakeology, but it's too much for me, I don't have the time to work on me, whatever objections we might have. It could even be objections of us running our business from our family and things like that. So it's objections all around that we're going to talk about tonight. I will keep it short and sweet like we try to do each call, because I know everybody's very busy. Let me do the screen share here so I can get it up and running. Let me X out of here if I can. Get back to our call. There we go. There it is. All right. So let me get to the screen here. Okay. Welcome to tonight's call, guys. And I will upload this recording later tonight like I do each Monday. But tonight we're going to learn all about the overcoming of objections. So what exactly are objections? Well, like I said, after watching some training videos and stuff, I actually learned a lot about the objections myself as well. And what I found, and what I have found over these a little over 2 years of being in the business, is the objections aren't always a no. They're not always, I don't want to do it. A lot of times people give you excuses. Their objections are excuses because they can't find a reason to overcome things. So they'll give you an objection of, oh, I don't have the money. When they necessarily probably have the money, their real reason is they don't want to start, or they don't have the time, or it's not for them. So they can't find the reasons to overcome their own excuses, so they just give you the objections. And it's never a final no. I don't feel any no is really never a no. Like Jen Greenberg has once told about the restaurant. The waiter asks you if you want water. No, thank you is your response. Does that mean you're never going to want a glass of water the whole hour, 2 hours that you're sitting there? No, it just means not right now. So when you get an objection of not right now, or, you know, I don't have the time, or I don't have the money, don't go to the defense. Let's try to help them with the objection. They're never the not right now. They're maybe show me something else that might make me say yes. Make me believe in it. And then you'll get a yes. So they're not always a no, not right now. You need to connect them to a story or a testimonial. And which is something that Tommy said in some of the videos that I watched today. Facts tell and stories sell. You want to share with them, and you can utilize any of my stories that I've shared with you. A lot of times I share Scotty Hobbs' story, how he paid off his mortgage. People that are so afraid to take that step. I don't know if a lot of you know, but Scotty Hobbs, it took 8 months for Lindsay to get him to sign. And when he was ready to sign, he actually sold a bunch of stuff on eBay to get the money to buy his first challenge pack. And look at him now. So testimonials and stories like that, research, write them down. When you're watching these videos of these top coaches and you're learning their background and you're hearing their story, you can share their story and you can say, you know, well, I know the top coach in the company, this is how he started. Or like me, I started because I wanted a discount on Shakeology. So everybody has a story, and you can utilize other coaches' stories. And to learn where objections come from. In all honesty, they're everywhere. We give objections ourselves. And one thing we need to remember is if the why isn't big enough, then the facts aren't going to matter. They need to have a big why as to why they even want to do this program, why they want to get healthy. I'm sure you guys see it millions of times of people that you talk to, oh, I really don't have the money. And then the next thing you see is they're checking in for 4 days in Disney World. Okay, well, that's a lot more expensive than buying a challenge pack. That's the same price as Shakeology. So their why isn't big enough yet. And our job as their possible coach, or being their possible upline coach, is to share with them how to get their why big enough. If we can overcome those objections within ourselves, it's up to us to share and help train them and help guide them into overcoming that objection also. So we've learned how to overcome objections. I'm sure there's many of us that were giving ourselves every reason to not get on this call tonight because we have a lot going on. Our lives are busy, but your why is big enough to get on this call and learn. So you've learned how to overcome your own objections. So now it's time for us to guide the people that we're trying to help in overcoming those objections. We get objections from prospects, people that want to sign up, but it's too much money. It's too expensive. I don't have the time. I would love to be a coach, but I have no time at all. That's where you start to share. When I started, I worked a full-time job. So I woke up a half hour earlier and did a half hour work in the morning, and I worked in the afternoon on my lunch break. So you need to show them how you did it. Show them how you overcame that objection. And you're also going to get objections from your team when people go inactive. When they tell you, I'm not ready, I don't want to work the business, I'm not confident enough yet. Or nobody wants to buy, nobody wants to do this, nobody wants to. Well, you know people want to because there's coaches out there hitting Success Club every month, becoming top coaches. So it's out there. People want to do it. It's just up to us to help guide them through those objections and make their why bigger. Here's the best way, and this was great watching this video that I was watching today with Barbie Decker, preventing the objections. If you prevent them and you already kind of know what objections you're going to get, you've been getting them. So if you get yourself ready and you prevent them from happening and you do these few things that I have on here, it starts with you. If you can get the proper body language, sitting up tall, even if you're getting on a call with somebody and they can't see you, if you sit up tall and you're having a smile on your face when you're talking, that can get portrayed through the phone. The same thing with sending messages. If you're using the little smiley face emojis and you're letting them know that you understand where they're coming from, and you're confident when you're speaking to them and what you speak and how you speak it, and you come off sincere, that's going to help prevent the objections right there. Because right away, just think about how before you became a coach, and people, probably me, I was contacting you and chatting with you about it and things like that. You know, there were probably times where you were like, oh, I don't want her to message me again. I really don't want to do it, or oh, I'm not ready yet, or whatever. But if you're confident and you're sincere and you're genuine about it, you're going to overcome that because people start with their walls up. It's up to us to break those walls down and let them know, if I don't sell you a program, it's okay. Join one of my free groups. You don't have to have money for me to start helping you. So it really starts with us, with the objections and how we portray ourselves when we first interact with them and we first talk to them. And I loved this saying. I had to put it on there. It came out in one of the things that Tommy had said. Be you, just make it about them. When you're talking to them, don't make it all about you and how you are with this or how you like the program. Yes, we have to give them a little bit of our story to get them to see how much we love it, but make it about them too. Ask lots of questions. Here's some great ways to start with verbalization to help handle objections. A great one is, I don't know, all I know is. Another one is, I totally understand where you're coming from because, and then share how you know where they're coming from. I get a big objection of money. So one way that I do that is, that was my objection when I started, when I signed up. That's why I signed up with the 25% off. And I was very concerned about the money automatically coming out of my account. So my response is usually, I totally get where you're coming from. That's exactly how I felt when I started. But this is what I did to overcome that. And teach them how you overcame your objections. I overcame it by making sure that I got 3 people. So then that way I didn't have to pay for mine anymore. So I no longer had to worry about that. The good one of I don't know, all I know is, if someone says something to you about anything of the programs or becoming a coach or anything like that, you know, if they're complaining about it being negative, your response could be, I don't know. All I know is I've watched 4 coaches shred their mortgage documents on stage at Summit. Something's working. I know it's helping them. You know, I don't know, but all I know is I'm watching people lose weight, get happy, and make lots of money and pay off their debt. So those are some ways to use that. And again, ask questions, lots and lots of questions. Get them talking. Another thing that Tommy said that stuck out, that's why I wrote it in yellow here, diagnose before you prescribe. And he gave the analogy of going to the doctor. If you were sitting in a doctor's office and he just walked right in and boop, 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 looked at you, wrote a prescription, handed it to you, and walked out, would you be confident taking that medication and using that doctor in the future? Absolutely not. He didn't come in and ask you one question. He didn't ask why you were there. He didn't ask you what you were feeling. So you're not going to be comfortable taking that medication or even going back to that office. And it's the same for us. Diagnosing is asking the questions. You really can't prescribe or suggest a program, or even Shakeology for that matter, if you don't know anything in their background. So we have to ask questions. Let them know that you truly want to help them. And this will help you get less objections because you already know the answers to a lot of these questions before you're giving them a program. Here's very common objections that I've chatted with you guys about. We've talked about it on some other team calls. Top one we always get, money. One way to ask, that way you can ask a why, because you don't want to just be like, well, why can't you afford it? That comes off kind of, to me, a little rude and a little personal. So I would always say, if you don't mind me asking, why do you think you can't afford it? Find out why. Because it could be, oh, because I just paid $1,000 on my car to get new tires, or I just spent this money on this and this money on this. And then you could see where you're at. You can see, well, do you eat out? Do you know 3 people that might want to do this with you? Because then you've covered their money objection. If they eat out all the time, okay, well, don't eat out for lunch anymore. Switch your lunch for your Shakeology, because eating out for lunch, what are you spending eating out for lunch? $8? Okay, well, your Shakeology will be $4. So not only can you now afford Shakeology, now you're saving $4 a day. So if you ask questions, you can easily get past that objection by helping them work through their objection. Asking questions is going to help them work through it. It's how we work through it ourselves. Another objection that we get a lot, time. Well, I don't have the time. I don't have time to press play. I'm a mom and I have a full-time job and I do this and I do that. None of us have the time either. We're moms. We're busy. We have full-time jobs. So my response is, oh, I totally get it. When I first started, I had a full-time job, so I'd get up a half hour earlier, do my posts, connect with people. I'd use my lunch hour to do my work, and then that way I still had time to be with my family when I got home. It took no time away from my family. I got up before everybody else, and I did my work during my lunch hour. You know, I really wanted it, so I found the time. If you really want it, you can find the time too. And then you could share other coaches that did the same thing. I know Jen Greenberg started building her business when she had a full-time job as well. Same thing. She got up early and did her power hour at lunch. Don't be afraid to use my story or any other coach's stories to tell people. Because one of their objections they can give you when you ask a question, their response could be another coach's story, and you could share that testimonial. Another common objection is their spouse. They don't know how to approach their spouse about spending the money. Even if it's not starting the business, then it could just be for a challenge pack. Or, you know, I've tried one of these marketing businesses before. My spouse is totally against it. So respond back. I can totally understand that. Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about your spouse? Let them explain how their spouse is and then offer. So let me ask you a question. Would it help you if I got on the phone with you and your husband or you and your wife and answered all of his or her objections and answered all their questions and made them feel a little bit more comfortable? Would that help you? I can kind of be that middleman for you so you don't have to approach your spouse. I can come to them and answer all their questions for them and offer that. Get on a call with them. You're helping them with one of their objections. You're giving them an easy way to approach their spouse, which is a scary thing for some people, to approach their spouse and ask them about starting the business. I've offered that to a few of my coaches when they started, and I have done one of those calls, and they did sign up after speaking to me, and I, was completely honest on the call, and I told the husband, exactly how my days were each and every day and how it still did not take away from the family. And, they ended up signing up and they're doing great. So we need to offer, we need to help them overcome these things. My favorite one I get is, I'm not a salesman. I can't do that. I'm not good at sales. I hate sales. I don't want to sell. My answer is always the same. Well, I do two different answers. Sometimes I'm like, well, that's great, because being a Beachbody coach is sharing. It's all about sharing. It's not about selling, so you would be great at it then if you don't like to sell. That's one of my answers I give. Another one is, I can totally understand that, because I don't like to sell either. I love to share, and that's what Beachbody is all about, is just sharing our journey. So here are some ways to get around those objections. And like I said in the last slide, if we ask questions at the beginning, some of these objections, we're already going to put it aside, and they're not going to come up because we're already going to ask them things. Like, I have some people right off the bat, when I start talking to them, their first thing is, I don't have any money. I'm like, that's okay. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and what your goals are, and let's see what I can do to help you get there. And I hadn't even talked to them at all. They friend requested me, and I just said, hi, so-and-so, nice to meet you. And their first thing is, I don't have any money. Okay, that's fine, but you friend requested me for a reason, so why don't you tell me why? Always ask them why. Get to know them and get to know why they're interested. Like I said, asking. Ask them what their goals are, what their needs are, what their desires and their strengths are. By asking them and getting them to talk about themselves, you're going to get a very long response. Make sure you have time to really read it and pay attention to what you're reading. But you're going to really get to know them as a person, and you're going to get to see if this is a right fit for them without them even telling you if it is or not. And by seeing their goals, you're going to be able to see what program to put them into. So make sure you ask them these special questions. It's very important to ask questions. This business is all about asking people about themselves and being good listeners about their responses. Before we get to the closing script, which I absolutely loved the closing script by Barbie Decker. Amazing. I had already done a few of the steps. There's like 6 steps in her script. There were a few that I didn't do that I can't wait to put them into action and try, because she said that her success rate is about 90%, and she uses that script each and every time, and 90% of the people sign up. So I'm excited to implement it. But before the closing of the script, okay, before you get to the closing point, at this point, like we talked in last week's script, last week's call, that we're going to give them the intro to Beachbody video. That's at that very last point where you're talking, and you've asked all your questions, and they've answered everything. And they've gotten to the point where now you're done presenting. You're done sharing everything with them. You're done asking questions. You know it's a good fit for them. And they've already watched the video, or you've at least already sent them the video. Now, before you close with them, whether you're getting them on the phone or whether it's through a message, you want to make sure that they have watched that video. And if they have not, you reschedule your conversation. I was very surprised when Barbie said that, to be honest, because it's got to be hard getting on a call with somebody with this call that you had scheduled with them. Because remember, we send them the video and we say, okay, what time is a good time within 24 hours to get back to you so we can discuss this video? Our next slide is a script on what you will discuss. But she says, she gets them on the phone and she asks, did you have a chance to listen to the call or to watch the video and listen to it? And if they say no, she's like, okay, well then when will be a good time for us to reschedule this call, because we really can't do the call without you watching the video. That's got to be hard to do. I would be a little afraid to do that, but she says it works for her. So I'm going to try it. But make sure they watch the video. That's a very important part, is that they get that video watched. Here is our closing script. Once they've watched the video, whether you get them on the phone or it's through Messenger or through text or it's been an email conversation back and forth and you can't get the person on the phone. I will tell you, phone is more personable. It makes it more like a one-on-one relationship type conversation. And when you get them on the phone, they can hear your sincerity. They can hear that smile on your face. They can hear how much you believe in what you're talking about, and they can hear how much you love it, which is a big deal. So getting them on the phone, I think, is better than closing through message. If you're chatting through message, answering all the questions through message, that's great. It's a time saver. But getting them on the phone is fantastic, because if they're ready to go, you could do it right there at the end, get them signed up, get them ready to go, and then you can get them started on what to do next and schedule your getting right call with them, all in that one phone call. You can have all that accomplished. So I suggest getting them on the phone and having this type of conversation. So your step 1 is, hi, Susie Q. how's everything going? Or, hey girl, how are you? However you talk, you don't have to read this off the piece of paper. Did you get a chance to watch the video yet? She's gonna tell you, yes, I did, and, I watched it, and blah, 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 blah. And ask a question. So what did you like about what you saw? Or what did you like about what you heard? Like if they didn't watch it and they just listened to it or whatever. If they tell you, I was with the kids, so I listened, I didn't get to watch. Well, what did you like about it? Let them tell you what they did and did not like about it, because they're going to get in depth with you, because it talks about the business, it talks about the programs, it talks about everything. So they're going to tell you, oh, I really liked how some of the ladies were saying that they were able to leave their job and become a mom, stay-at-home mom, and be with their kids more and be more into their children's lives and be there and be able to be at every game and, not have to worry about asking off for work when one of the kids were sick. There you have it. They're telling you their why right there in step 2 as to why they want to do the business. And the next step, well, tell me a little bit more about that. Because they're telling you that's the part they liked. Well, tell me a little bit more. Like, why did you like that so much? And let them tell you. Well, I'm a mom of 3 and I feel like they never get 100% of mom because I have to stay at work late, or if they're sick, I have to have somebody stay home with them and I can't take care of my own kids because I can't get time off work. And there they are getting more detailed into their why with you. And you're taking notes because here's a possible coach already telling you their why. So when it comes to you sitting down with them and detailing out their why, you already have part of it written down. And then you could just get more into the nitty-gritty of that for them to develop their why a little bit more. Step 4, once they give you this big, long answer back as to telling you a little bit more, come right out and ask them, okay, that sounds great. Or, yeah, that's the reason why that's the part that I liked the most about it too. Interact with them a little and then ask them, okay, I have a question for you. Do you want to make a little money or a lot of money? And right out there, and Barbie Decker was saying that a lot of people, believe it or not, will say, well, I want to make a little money. Like, I want to get my nails done, which then that reminds me of Jen Greenberg, because I know she started just because she wanted to be able to get her nails done and then wanted to be able to get her hair done. Which for me, it was just to save money on my shakes, then to get them for free. And then I wanted to get my nails done. And then I liked that. And I wanted to get my hair done. And then, then it snowballs. And then you add something else to the list that you want to be able to buy yourself. So ask them to tell you. They want to make a little, they want to make a lot. And then ask them what they want that money for. Well, what for? What would you do with that extra money? By asking them these questions, you're not only learning about them, but they're selling the Beachbody business to themselves. They're answering these questions. This is what I liked about the video you sent me. The video is all about the Beachbody business. This is a little more detail about what I liked about it. I want to make a little, I want to make a lot of money. Why? Because I want to pay off all my credit card debt. I no longer want to have credit card bills coming in with a minimum balance due. I want it to be at 0. Or I want to be able to pay off my credit card each month when I get the statement. I want to use that for all my bills, and when I get the statement, I want to be able to pay it. I don't want to be in debt anymore. Or I want to take my family on vacations. So they're telling you why they want to do the Beachbody business. You don't have to convince them. They're convincing themselves right now in this closing script. Step 6. At your current job, how long would it take you to be able to make such and such a money to pay off all your debt? Or, how long would you have to be at that job before you can have enough money to retire to be home with your kids? Will your kids be grown adults by that time and now they don't need you to be home with them? Let them tell you how long, because most times than not, the answer is going to be never. I'll never be able to do that at my job. I will never be at my job long enough to be able to make such and such amount of money to be able to pay off all my credit card debt. I'm at this job right now. I am maxed out at where I can get with bonuses and where I can get with my income. So I'll never have extra money to pay off my debt unless I get another job. Well, here you are talking to them about that other job. So most times than not, their response will be never. And your closing answer will be, well, girl, welcome to the team. I would love to have you on my team. Are you near a computer? Let's get you signed up and ready to go. Their response from that is going to be, oh my God, thank you so much. This is awesome. I'm so excited. Hold on. Okay, what website do I go to? And now you're signing your coach. So you don't have to do the work. By the time you get to this call, it's you asking them a few questions so they can tell you why they want to be a Beachbody coach. They're doing it for you. You don't have to sit there and convince them how great it is and how much it's changed your life. They'll do all of that for you. I think that script, it's amazing. So I was skipping a couple of those steps in my own closing script that now I can't wait to add those steps in there to see how much easier it is for me to really, close with the way that she has the script. I mean, that script cannot be more perfect. So here is my CTA for all of us. And it's nothing that anybody has to do and post in the group or anything like that, like our normal call to action. These are things that you need to do within yourself. I want everybody to identify the areas that you need to improve on when it comes to overcoming objections. Because sometimes and I know I do it, I still do it sometimes to this day, somebody starts messaging me about wanting information about the business or information about, getting started on their fitness journey. And I get so pumped up. Sometimes I just want to answer those few questions and I forget to ask them a few questions to start telling me about them first before I can. So instead of just going in and be like, oh my God, it's awesome, I love being a Beachbody coach, blah, 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 to where they're like, oh my God, that's way too much information. And what Mike Greenberg likes to say, word vomiting all over them. I need to take a breath, step back, and ask a few questions before I can answer their question about the business and get to know them first to see how the business would actually benefit them and give them, information that they need. If I start talking about paying off of this debt and that debt, and they're not somebody that really needs to pay off any debt, they just want extra money for this, that, and the other, talking about paying off debt isn't really going to benefit them. It's not going to add value to the reason why they would want to become a coach. So we need to ask some questions first. So really sit back and think and identify some areas that you would need to improve on when it comes to these objections, because sometimes the objections come up because we're not asking enough questions at the beginning. You also need to be willing to fail. That's the way we're going to learn in this business. We're going to fail, we're going to learn from that, and we're not going to fail the same way again, but remember, you will fail in a different way afterwards, and that's how we're going to learn from that. It's the only way to improve is to fail at something, figure out why that failed, and then do it right the next time. Our next call to action, I want you guys to practice this. You can change up the wording. You don't have to read it on a piece of paper like when you call customer service and they're reading from a script. You don't want to read from a script, but you want to utilize those 6 steps in that last closing. It works. And what I see sometimes in some coaches, none on this team, but coaches that I've come across, coaches that aren't even on our team, I talk to coaches from other teams, they try to reinvent the wheel. And when you try to reinvent that wheel, it doesn't work. They put these things into place because they've already tried other ways and they don't work. So that's why they're giving us these tools, because they've already learned the steps. So why not learn from their failures and pick up and do what works? Don't try to reinvent it. It's okay to make it your own, but don't reinvent the steps, because the steps are there because they work. People have become the top coaches and they're in the millionaire club and they're making over the 6 figures because they follow these steps. I want you all to use our team page to help with objections. I know we do this a lot in the Fit Family Network group. Let's utilize our coach group as well. Use other coaches as the sounding board. What I mean by this, say you have an objection and you really don't know how to respond to it. Post it. Post it in the coaching group. Okay, guys, I'm chatting with a possible coach prospect, or I'm talking with a possible challenge prospect, and this is the objection that they just sent me. How would you respond to this? And get everybody's ideas on how they could respond, because one of them is just going to click with you and be like, oh, that's awesome. I'm going to go with that one. And let's all help each other with these objections, because, not all of us get the same objections. Sometimes there's different objections that I'm like, wow, how can I respond to that? And I'll bounce my ideas off other coaches. I'll text Candy and Amy in our little text messaging group where we help each other and be like, okay, I don't even know how to respond to this person. And Amy will answer back and I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Okay, that's a good idea. Or vice versa. They respond with, oh, I'm talking to so-and-so, but this is what they said. And I'll text real quick. All right, well, don't forget to tell them this. Or like Joe Dana was just posting in our group, you know, oh, I have somebody that's interested, but they don't want to spend the money now if they don't like the shakes. Don't forget to tell them it's a 30-day bottom of the bag guarantee. So they're really not spending their money now that they're never going to get back. It's risk-free. Why wait for a sample when instead of your sample, you can have a big bag? So if you try it one day and love it, now you have to wait a week to get the whole bag. Get the bag. If you don't like it, get your money back. And it's easy to do. So that could have been something she forgot about. So by posting in the group, it reminds us. We're not going to remember everything. So make sure we utilize our group. And I want to close with you guys with, let me just stop the screen share real quick. Okay. I want to close with you guys this time frame in the Beachbody business. We're getting around the holidays. So there's some times where you have August and September and you're getting into the October. So August and September, I'm sure some of you guys have already realized, is traditionally like the slow time. It's getting kind of slow because school had just started, but it's in between the school starting and the holidays starting. So, you know, people are kind of real slow on purchasing, or they're finding they don't have the time because they're trying to plan this and plan that and get the kids ready and everything else. You can't stop being consistent at that time. It is crucial to stay on point with what you're doing with your business and just continue, whether you're getting crickets, whether nobody's purchasing, whether nobody's talking in your challenge group. You have to stay consistent. Because what you do now, end of September, by October 1st, what you're doing now is going to determine your December, January, and February's months. If you stay consistent during these slow times, you're going to start booming right around that time frame. So what you do now, October 1st, it's crucial. It is crucial to stay pushing and don't stop. And if you feel like you're getting nowhere, instead of adding 3 people, add 6 people. Instead of starting 2 conversations, start 3 or 4 conversations. Just talk to more people and just up it a little bit more and push yourself a little bit harder during the slow time. You're going to benefit from it come that time frame. And a really good thing to start now is pre-resolution challenge groups, pre-holiday challenge groups. Why wait until after you gain that extra 5-10 pounds from eating turkey and eating ham, or if people do Italian Christmases, lots of pastas and carbs? Why wait until after gaining all that weight to try to push yourself to do something? Let's do a pre-holiday challenge group. Let's get ourselves ready so we can enjoy the holidays and already be working towards those fitness goals and those health goals that we want, that you can enjoy the holidays without any guilt. Enjoy the holidays because you know you can eat that extra slice of pie because the next day you're press and play with T25 or PIO or whatever program you might be putting them in. So start thinking of a pre-holiday challenge group to try to get them going. Like a pre-resolution. Why wait till January 1st? If you know that you're going to want to lose weight, why wait 3 months from now? Start now so you can fit into that hot ass dress that you want to wear for a New Year's party that you might be going to. And you're going to go to that party banging out that dress, and everyone's going to be asking you what you did to get looking that good in that dress. So just try to start planning ahead. Like I said, these are the slow times, but what we do during these slow times is crucial for what the outcome's going to be for all of us. So that's what I have tonight for everybody, for objections, and then for what you guys can do to help yourselves be ready, because planting those seeds now, December, January, February, you're going to have blooming trees. That I remember doing that last year after talking to Mike Greenberg, and he told me, because I was worried it was slow. I wasn't hitting the Success Club points I normally did. And that's what he told me. Just keep planting, keep planting. It will blow. And it did. It did big time. You just have to remember that. Before we close, like we do every call, I want to open it up if anybody has questions for me about anything that we talked about with objections, or maybe a possible objection that you had over the past couple days that I might not have brought up that you might want to throw out there if you have any questions on it. Nobody? All right, we will end our call tonight. I hope that...
Shit. Do you have a PIO group going?
Yes, it just started today. You need to add somebody?
Will you add me and I'll add her?
Yep.
Or, He hasn't gotten it yet. It's coming in the mail tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely add her. Oh, something I noticed today. I don't know when it stopped, but I could have sworn when they signed up with the challenge pack, they got a 30-day free trial to try Beachbody On Demand. Mm-hmm. But the Beachbody On Demand isn't working until they pay.
So I know they have to activate it. They have to activate it, but then it's 30 days. And if they don't cancel within the 30 days.
All right. So I'll have to tell her, maybe she got an email about it. In the email, she has to activate, because I logged in as her. And she's like, because I told her, I said, you don't have to wait to get your DVDs. You can start the workout now. And then I felt like, okay, I didn't know. I was like, maybe that's something they changed, because I logged in as her, went to Beachbody On Demand, and it said, this will not work unless you're a paid club membership or a premier membership or something like that. And I was like, well, I could have sworn they got 30 days free. So I'll tell her to see if she got an email.
How soon was this after she ordered?
She ordered it maybe 4 days ago.
Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe they need like 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, no, she ordered, I mean, she'll probably have her DVD soon, but she was like, oh, I went on my trip, but I didn't have, anything with me. So I said, hey, don't forget, you can utilize the on-demand.
I'm going to look it up too, see what I see.
All right. So just so you guys can keep an eye on that. And then I'll do some research too and see if maybe she just had to activate, and I'll put it in our group so everybody knows what the steps are, so you can tell people, don't worry if you're, because my thing is with challenge groups is they don't have to wait for the DVD in order to get started. That was always my thing. Like, there's no longer this is your last day to order the program, because even if they order tonight, once it gets working, they could start working out right away. They're just waiting for their shakes. So I'll look into it too, and whoever finds information first, just go ahead and post so everybody else will have it. And then Lonnie, I'll go ahead and add you in that group so you can add her.
Okay, thank you.
And if anybody else has anybody, Pio, just let me know, and I could add you, and you can add your challenger. That way you can keep them motivated. Anybody have any other questions? All right, well, I hope that this helped you. It gave me a really good training today. I loved doing this one because I watched about 5 videos and learned so much and took so much notes when I was putting this call together, that I think it's going to help me with a lot of objections. So I hope it helps you guys. And like I said, don't be afraid to post the objections you're getting and see how other people might answer, because it could help you a lot. Their answer could make a lot of sense to you. You could be like, it could be like a light bulb going off. Like, why didn't I think of that? So just make sure you utilize the team page to post any questions that you guys have. Okay? Well, have a good night, everybody. And I will see you. Oops, we got to take our photo off. I almost forgot. Amber, I need your face.
Really?
You guys almost let me forget.
We tried.
Smile. Okay. We can't not get our morning. You're a mess. Look at me. My hair's all slicked back. Still wet from the shower. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right, ladies.
Bye.